achieved.
Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm SiLOL, and today we'll be taking a look at the profession that got the most thumbs up by you guys, and that's the Elementalist. The Elementalist wears light armor like the Necromancer, and deals magic damage from range to take down enemies. The one thing I really like about the Elementalist in Guild Wars 2 is that they don't focus on just one element. In many games, the player specializes in one of the elements and becomes bound to only using skills within the type that they chose. When you play the Elementalist in Guild Wars 2, you are going to have all the elements at your disposal. The Elementalist has 4 attunements that they can switch between whenever they like. The attunements are Fire, Air, Water, and Earth. These 4 attunements will make the Elementalist an extremely elusive foe on the battlefield because of their ability to change attunements to match the situation. Every profession in Guild Wars 2 has 2 weapon sets they can switch between in combat, which switches the first 5 abilities on their skill bar. Since the attunements of the Elementalist acts as a weapon switch, they only have 1 weapon set in combat. The Elementalist will be one of the more interesting professions in the game, because the player will have 25 abilities in a given situation, rather than 15 like all the other professions. So now let's get details on each of the attunements. The Fire attunement is much what you would expect. It gives the Elementalist the ability to damage multiple enemies at once. The Fire attunement mainly focuses on area of effect spells, and has a persistent effect that deals fire damage to nearby enemies. The Air attunement is also a damage-based attunement, but rather than focusing on AoE attacks, its main concern is to deal high damage to a single target. This attunement also has an effect that deals damage to nearby enemies, but does it in the form of lightning strikes. The Water attunement is one of my personal favorite because it really sets the elementals apart from the standard mage class seen in other MMOs. This attunement focuses on controlling enemies' movement and even healing allies. While this attunement is active, the Elementalist heals the nearby allies. The Earth attunement is all about protecting allies and weakening enemies. With the boons and conditions that the attunement provides, it could mean a turn in the tides on the battlefield. This attunement increases the Elementalist's magic protection while active. An Elementalist will have to change between each attunement carefully, because when you switch attunements they go on recharge. The one you were recently in is on a 20-second recharge, and the other 2 are on a 10-second recharge. The Elementalist has one general trait line called Arcane, and a trait line for each of their attunements, as well as a trait line for each of the weapons they can use. The Arcane trait line specializes in general buffs to the character, such as buffs to power, precision, toughness, and vitality. The other trait lines, which are called Fire Magic, Air Magic, Water Magic, and Earth Magic, simply just give more proficiency within that attunement. The Elementalist can use 3 main hand weapons, which include the Dagger, the Scepter, and the Staff. Offhands include Dagger and a Focus. These weapons give specialization in areas such as close-range combat, long-range AoE attacks, and medium-range single-target spells. The Elementalist has many different types of skills available to them. The first one we'll take a look at are area spells. This could include a frontal cone ability, or even a firewall that the Elementalist creates. But there's one thing that these things have in common, and that is to cause havoc. Next up are glyphs. This skill type focuses on amplifying the Elementalist's natural power. Things such as making all your attacks critically hit for a certain amount of time, or even making yourself immune to crowd control for a set amount of time, are things that glyphs might do. The next skill type are called signets. Signets give off a passive effect and then can be activated for a more brutal effect. An example might be a signet that gives the Elementalist defenses and can be activated to shoot out a wave of stone, stunning nearby enemies. The last skill type for the Elementalist are conjure spells. This is probably the most interesting of the 4, because it allows the Elementalist to create items or weapons that the Elementalist or allies can use. These created items are environmental weapons, so once interacted with, it will change the first 5 skills on your skill bar. Now this doesn't mean that you will get 5 new skills, you might only get 2. An example might be to conjure up a fiery rock that the Elementalist can launch at incoming enemies. That's all for this week guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button below and to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all next week.